Okay, welcome to Tuesday Night Live horror. I'm still fiddling with this new microphone, so please, I'm begging you to let me know how the volume is. If it's too loud, if it's not loud enough, I need to know that to adjust it. If it's doing anything else weird. Kim, you can come in out of the rain now. All right, ma'am. So, also, can you guys see me all right? Check on that too. It's always good if you can see me, right? Well, not necessarily. What are we doing over there, Monty? I don't think your mom wants you to mess with her school stuff. All right. Tuned up the volume and it didn't distort. Are you saying I'm not distorting, or you fixed me so I don't distort? I can move it a little closer also. Hang on. Monty. I love you, buddy, but could we not do that? Okay. Sorry, guys. Let me take care of the little creature over here. Okay, Monty. You have plenty of toys in this book house. You know it, and I know it. So let's just put the lid on that. Okay. There we go. So what I'm doing is, and Ben's going to help me. Ben Handelman's going to help me with this tomorrow evening, if I can't make it work. But all as you guys know, the evil folks at Danielle's current school, evil meaning one person and about 3 sycophants. Her last day is Friday. She does have interviews in several other places already, so that's good. It's still very... She doesn't deserve this. It's very depressing for her. Anyway, yes, exactly, Kelly Gurr. I'm working on copying her files, and they're all her files that she created over the year, but they've got it fixed so that she can't even put her own files like on my computer. I think I fixed it tonight, but Handelman's the expert, not me. So he was good enough to say that he will look at this tomorrow for me, so I guess that's enough of that for now. Anyway, that's why I'm late. Let's say hi to everybody. Guys, I have been so I can't overemphasize this. Yeah, it is hacking time, Kelly. I can't overemphasize how utterly depressed I have been over the past few days. Needless to say, so has Danielle. But my point in bringing this up is that it's good to see you guys, so to speak. And it's good to chat with you. Let's say hi to everybody. All right, so we got Kelly, Alan, Darren, Suzanne, Mike Davis. Hey, Mike Davis. Kim. Kim, I hope you didn't get too wet outside the book house. Listen, Kim, I want everyone to congratulate Kim and thank Kim, because Kim is our newest member to the Patreon. So thank you. Love you, ma'am. Thank you for doing that. You have no idea what an emotional boost it was when I saw that this evening. I sent you an email. I don't know if you've gotten it yet, but all right. So said hi to Darren, Kim, Scott Thomas, my buddy, who I'm begging to write Sea of Ash 2, but I know how busy you are, man, so no guilt. Alan Hughes, as always. Yeah. Alright, so let's see what everyone's having to say before we get started reading. First of all, Kim, I hope I get to keep the book house. Daniela has interviews in Florida that she did via Zoom last week. She's got an interview in a nearby town tomorrow. It is what it is, you know. I won the lottery the day that I met my wife and married my wife. I won the lottery then, and I won the lottery again when my son was born. So yeah, I love the book house, but if I lose it, you know, anything on top of those guys is gravy. And I'm not going to lose you guys. I care about you guys very much. I'm not just saying that, I really do. That's why I started all of this. All right, Darren wants to know if I have a favorite chapter of Walden. Okay. I would not say I have a favorite chapter of Walden, Darren, but if it's okay with everybody, here's what I'm going to do. I sent an email to a really good friend of mine several years ago. He had never read never read Walden. He's very intelligent. He's about 5 years older than me. And so a few years back, I sent him this email. And I'm going to need you guys to post on the side chat if I'm boring you, okay? But knowing you guys, I probably am not. So here's what I said to my friend. He's very privacy conscious, so we'll just call him John Smith for the purposes of this. I said, John, here are a few of the highlights I've made in Walden over the years. Let me know what you think. All right. So instead of a chapter, I'm giving you just some. There are more, okay? But in the interest of time, here are some of my favorite quotes from Walden and ones that mean so much to me. And I think that ones quotes that and snippets from Walden that really encapsulate what the book is about. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. And you guys promised me, if this is dear to my heart, and Darren asked, so stop me if you want me. I'm going to be I said I was going to be reading more of Paul's book, Paul Olson. I think I'm going to do that next week, and I just had the urge to read a story out of this, and I'll explain all this in a minute. So yeah, one thing at a time. Oh, also Donna, Patreon and friend Donna, if you are watching, Donna looked at my Amazon wish list and saw this on it, and it arrived in the mail today or yesterday, something like that. Thank you, Donna. I already sent you an email, but my gosh, thank you. this is called Flight or Fright, edited by Stephen King and Bev Vincent. And it's 17 stories about what you would expect. Horror in the Heights. Obviously, it has the classic Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. I still love that original adaptation with William Shatner. It's just amazing. And there are stories by our good friend, there's a friend by Cody Goodfellow. Good on you, Cody. Ray Bradbury, Roald Dahl. Stephen King has one in here. Dan Simmons, John Varley, Joe Hill, Ambrose Bierce, Arthur Conan Doyle, Bev Vincent. Anyway, I'm so looking forward to reading this. So, so yeah. All right. Let's get back to Walden. The thing about Walden is, and a huge philosophy and guiding principle for my life is simplicity. There's I won't get this exactly right, but I don't think it's a real story anyway. There's this story, not in Walden, but it illustrates about this guy who went on vacation, and he hired this fisherman who had who lived frugally, had a nice boat, not nice, but just a frugal, all he needed. He fished every day, and basically this guy's life was, once in a while he'd take a client out fishing if they wanted, but a lot of his day was he'd get up, he'd have some coffee, he would fish a little bit, he'd go home, he'd cook the fish or something else with his wife, and he'd sell some of he would make a little bit of money, and had a very, very, very relaxed life. He didn't have a lot of money, but he didn't need a lot of money, and he had no debt. So, I'm sure you're with me so far. Hopefully my volume is still good. So anyway, one time this guest that he took out fishing on his boat one day, the guest, rich guy, said, you're really making a mistake here. And the fisherman's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you could make so much money at this. You could hire some more people, some more fishermen. You could use the profits to buy some more boats. You could have like this fleet of 4 to 6 boats, making all this money every day, and saving your money, and you could become rich. And thanks, Kim. And the fisherman replied, why? And the rich guy was like, what do you mean why? So you could have a lot of money. And so that he's like, yeah, but I don't really need a lot of money. I don't really buy stuff. I buy a book once in a while and things like that, just small things that I want. And the guy's like, well, after you do this for, maybe 10 or 15 years and keep saving your money, and then you could retire. And the fisherman goes, okay, so then I retire, and then what? And then the rich guy goes, well, then you could just, kind of take it easy every day, fish when you felt like it, not when you don't feel like it, and live off of your retirement. And the fisherman looks at him and he's like, that's what I'm doing already. So I always think of that little story when I think about Walden, or when I reread Walden, which has been about 30 or 40 times over the years. So, let me read you a few quotes, Darren. And I hope the rest of you guys enjoy these as well. But you see the point the fisherman was making. He was just like, it's a trap. Which Henry David Thoreau realized as well at a young age. He was, I believe, 30 when he wrote Walden. So these are some of the quotes that I sent to my friend a few years ago when he asked me about Walden. And the first quote was, this is Thoreau, "I have traveled a good deal in Concord, and everywhere, in shops and offices and fields, the inhabitants have appeared to me to be doing penance in 1,000 remarkable ways. Even these forms of conscience penance are hardly more incredible and astonishing than the scenes which I daily witness. The 12 labors of Hercules were trifling in comparison with these which with my neighbors have undertaken, for they were only 12 and they had an end. But I could never see that these men slew or captured any monster or finished any labor. They have no friend Iolus to burn with a hot iron on the root of the hydra's head, but as soon as one head is crushed, 2 spring up." Stoicism, exactly, Kelly. Stoicism, to me, they're all, these philosophies, these concepts, they're all hand in hand, Stoicism, simplicity, Taoism, Wu, from Taoism. To continue that theme, Thoreau says, "I see young men, my townsmen, whose misfortune it is to have inherited farms, houses, barns, cattle, and farming tools, for these are more easily acquired than got rid of. Better if they had been born in the open pasture and suckled by a wolf, that they might have seen with clearer eyes what field they were called to labor in. Who made them serfs of the soil? Why should they eat their 60 acres when man is condemned to eat only his peck of dirt? Why should they begin digging their graves as soon as they are born?" If you know anything, and you guys are a really intelligent bunch, I'm sure you do, about how we as humans grew up over the last few 100,000 years, it's been only around in the last 10,000 that we agriculture is what started it all. I'm not saying that tribal people didn't have it tough, but we have it tough too, in different ways. And they would hunt and gather, and they would spend a lot of what we would call leisure time with each other, He continues, "It is a fool's life, as they will find when they get to the end of it, if not before." Let me skip ahead a little bit. I'm sure you've heard the following quote. Yes, Jared Diamond, worst mistake in the history of the human race. What was the title of that book. I've got it right over there. I don't want to get up and get it. It's thick. But I knew you'd know what I was talking about. Well, you'll think of it. Post it when you think of it, would you, Alan? The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation. From the desperate city, you go to the desperate country and have to console yourself with the bravery of minks and muskrats. A stereotyped but unconscious despair is concealed even under what are the games and amusements of mankind. There is no play in them, for this comes after work. But it is a characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things. I love that line. Gun, Germs, and Steel. Thank you, Alan. I need to reread that. It's been about 7 or 8 years. All right, so Darren. So remember, Thoreau was, almost a kid when he wrote, but he had a lot. He had a lot of wisdom. So he was about 30 years old, and he was writing this over 2 years at Walden Pond, for the most part. And he goes on to say, one may almost doubt if the wisest man has learned anything of absolute value by living. Practically, the old have no very important advice to give to the young. Their own experience has been so partial, and their lives have been such miserable failures, for private reasons, as they must believe. This makes me think of Fight Club. Strange as it may sound, the movie Fight Club has a lot in common with Walden. So anyway, he goes on to say, I've lived some 30 years on this planet, and I have yet to hear the first syllable of valuable or even earnest advice from my seniors. They have told me nothing, and probably cannot tell me anything to the purpose. Here is life, an experiment to a great extent untried by me, but it does not avail me that they have tried it. If I have any experience which I think valuable, I am sure to reflect that this my mentors said nothing about. Are you guys into this? Do you guys like this? I can move on to the price of fear, which I will in a minute if you want. And hope this is somewhat answering your questions, Darren. Here's a quote I really like. Now remember, this is part of an email that I sent to my friends a few years ago. And this is just so effing true. The greater part of what my neighbors call good, I believe in my soul to be bad. And if I repent of anything, it is very likely to be my good behavior. What demon possessed me that I behaved so well? Well, you may say the wisest thing you can, old man. You who have lived 70 years, not without honor of a kind, but I hear an irresistible voice which invites me away from all of that. Sure, fishing, there are so many, the practical applications of this is a whole other conversation, Kelly. But you're right. That's one way to go. Even in 2025, there are things that you can do it's all about low overhead, right? Well, it's not all about low overhead, but a lot of it is about low overhead. No debt. Danielle and I'll be the first to say we don't have a lot of money. We don't. Which is one reason why I appreciate you guys, you Patreons, so much. But my point there is we don't have any debt either. And, I wasn't born. I'm not trying to come off as, man, I'm the old man full of wisdom here. You guys better listen. I don't mean that at all. I've learned things the hard way in my life, and if I can pass off a few things to others that I've learned the hard way, then maybe they don't have to learn it the hard way. Maybe they don't have to go through some of the bad experiences that I've gone through. And it's not easy, I know, but it is simple. And if you do have debt, I'm not Mr. Expert at the best way to get rid of it, because every situation is different. Your debt would be different than the debt that I had earlier in life, right? But I do know, and I've always felt strongly, that where there is a will, there is a way. I'm not reading right now, but I do remember that Thoreau wrote, "I went out to the woods because I wished to live deliberately and to," like I said, I don't have it in front of me, but he said, when I came down to the end of my life, to realize that I had not lived. And I don't want that for my life. So let's read a little bit more. And this is a good point when you think about the right way. This is what everybody does, right? Or what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go to school, and then we're supposed to get a job, or go to college and then get a job, and so on and so forth. And you fucking right, Alan. Medical debt should not exist. I mean, my God, that's a whole other conversation. Anyway. So speaking of this one right way to do things supposedly in life, and let me preface this by saying there are a hell of a lot of people who have 9-to-5 regular type jobs that they love, okay? I am not judging anyone and how they live. All I'm saying with Walden, and what I'm trying to say tonight is, if you're not happy with the way you live, there are other choices, and it may not seem like there are, but there are. And I think of people like my wife, despite the fact of what's happening with her, it's a quote-unquote 9-to-5 job, but my God, I know the woman, if we won the lottery tomorrow, I know she'd still be a teacher, you know? All right, so this one right way to live, supposedly. It appears as if men had deliberately chosen the common mode of living because they preferred it to any other. Not true, right? Yet they honestly think there is no choice left. But it is never too late to give up our prejudices. No way of thinking or doing, however ancient, can be trusted without proof. And old people telling you that this is the way to do it, Thoreau goes on to say, one may almost doubt if the wisest man has learned anything of absolute value by living. Practically, the old have no very important advice to give the young. Their own experience has been so partial, and their lives have been such miserable failures, for private reasons, as they must believe. I think I read part of that already. Okay, so speaking of the only way, right? Let's see what you guys have to say before I move on. Yeah, if you do have a 9-to-5 job that gives you a decent salary, and if you live in the States, health insurance and so forth, gosh, yeah, you're lucky. I'm not denigrating that at all, okay? At all. I'm just saying, not everyone's that way. Some people are sitting in cubicles doing data entry, hating their job every minute of the day, or they're busting bricks somewhere, or whatever, or they're working at a fast food place. When I was a kid, 21 years old, I worked at a bagel place in Fort Worth, and I actually really liked it. I had friends there. I enjoyed it. I still didn't know who I was or what I wanted to do, but while I was figuring it out, I liked what I was doing. There are jobs like that, okay? When I moved back up to Iowa, I was lucky enough to get an apartment with 2 other guys in a really nice part of Des Moines. I don't mean a gated community or anything. I just mean a nice part of Des Moines. An apartment complex, and it was 3-bedroom complex. And as a result, my expenses were very, very low. So this was a little bit before I met Danielle, and I had low expenses, and I worked part-time delivering pizzas. And I could have worked full-time. I could have gotten a job at an office doing entry-level clerical work or something, because believe me, I've done those jobs, and let's just say they're not for me. So I worked, 20, 25 hours a week. I liked the people there, and then I had a lot of free time. I had a little extra money to buy a book when I wanted to. To me, I felt successful. I really did. I really did. It didn't mean that I wanted to do it forever, but for a few years that I did it, it was about low overhead and not a lot of working hours, and so forth. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people, they want to keep up with the Joneses. This guy's got a nice car. I got to get a better car. That's a simplification, but I think you get it. I won't beat a dead horse. So he goes on to say about all this, this is the only way that we say. But there are as many ways as there can be drawn radii from one center. He says, when he was thinking about this, instead of studying how to make it worth men's while to buy my baskets, something he was doing, instead of trying to make it their while to buy his baskets. He said, I studied rather how to avoid the necessity of selling them. Yep. Now, I mean it, guys. I will read a story out of here if I don't keep you up too late. But, Darren, this is all your fault. And I'm very excited about this kind of topic, and I'm very excited to share it. So thanks, buddy. Again, he says, the life which men praise and regard as successful is but one kind. Why should we exaggerate any one kind at the expense of the others? And speaking of conspicuous consumption, as Sir Equinox just said, hey, Marianne. Thoreau says, I sometimes try an acquaintance by tests such as this. Could they wear a patch or 2 extra seams only over their knee? Their pants. Most behave as if they believed that their prospects for life would be ruined if they should do it. It would be easier for them to hobble to town with a broken leg than with a broken pantaloon, old style pants. A lot of this comes down to simplicity, too. Do you really need all that stuff? You have to sit down and decide, what's most important to me? Okay, let's shit can the rest of this, right? He says, I had 3 pieces of limestone on my desk, but I was terrified to find that they required to be dusted daily, when the furniture of my mind was all undusted still, and I threw them out the window in disgust. Now, everything that Thoreau says here applies to him personally. Maybe you're just fine with 10 pieces of limestone on your desk. You know what I mean? But simplification, decluttering. He does say that some are, quote, industrious and appear to love labor for its own sake, or perhaps because it keeps them out of worse mischief. To such I have present nothing to say. I take that to mean that he's like, if you look, if you just love working because you think that's just it, and if you were at home, you'd be bored stiff because you couldn't think of anything to do, or book to read, or a hobby to pursue, but you're one of those people, you have to work. Well, then he's basically saying, I don't have any advice for you. You be you. So, here are a few more that I just not only love the concept of, but he's also, in some places, such a poetic writer. Why should we live with such hurry and waste of life? We are determined to be starved before we are hungry. And then this following quote I think about so much. It means so much to me, and I'll read it and then I'll move on to the next quote, and you guys can decide what it means to you, or maybe research it some more. But here's the quote. Speaking of time and the limited time that we have on this earth, and how do you spend it? What did Gandalf say to Frodo? All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us, right? That's Gandalf, not Thoreau, obviously. Sure you knew that. Anyway, here's the quote. Time is but the stream I go a-fishing in. I drink at it, but while I drink, I see the sandy bottom and detect how shallow it is. Its thin current slides away, but eternity remains. I would drink deeper, fish in the sky, whose bottom is pebbly with stars. Last but not least, Alan says, I see so many of my students wanting to get out of school or graduate early so they can work. I tell them you have 50 years to work. Enjoy this time while you can. Yeah, it's all about, sometimes I think with these guys, Alan, it's possibly, how can I go out and be a success in life, right? I want to be a success. Well, success means what it means to you, not what it means to other people. We're not in a race. This isn't a competition with the other humans around us or other humans at all. It's about how we want to live our life. That's a decision only we can make. But I'll tell you one thing. There are always ways to make more money. And I'm not talking about millions or anything. I'm just saying there are always, as my wife and I say, there are always ways to make more money. There is never a way to make more time. People talk, and there's so many books about how to save time, how to, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, you can't save time. You can only spend it. So the question then becomes, how do you want to spend the time in your life? What means most to you? Einstein, I didn't know I was going to say this, but let me just pull it up real quick. All right. The title of this is on NPR from, I don't know, eight years ago or so. Einstein's note on happiness given to a bellboy in 1922, which, by the way, fetches $1.6 million in 2017. Reading down this article, and I will put it in the side chat after I read just the part that I want to read. Speaking of Einstein, while staying at Tokyo's Imperial Hotel, a courier came to the door to make a delivery. The courier either refused a tip or Einstein had no small change, but Einstein wanted to give the messenger something nonetheless. So, on a piece of hotel stationery, Einstein wrote in German his theory of happiness. And I think about this a lot. The quote is this: a calm and modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness. A calm and modest life brings more success than the pursuit of happiness combined with constant restlessness. I take that to mean that, of course, it's good to have goals. Of course it is. I'm not saying, hey, guys, here's your blueprint for sitting around watching Seinfeld every day, and doing nothing else. That's not what I mean. But time is all we really have in the end, besides our friends and our family. And my take on Einstein's advice here is, sure, have goals, but don't have goals to the extent that it's driving you crazy until you accomplish them. I know writers, I know business people, I know so many people in my life that accomplishing those goals, getting that next book written, getting it accomplished, getting an award maybe for it, that's all they think about. That's what it's all about. And they forget to take time and enjoy the process. As cliche as that is, it's cliche for a reason. Anyway, let me put the link to that article in the side chat if you want to read it later. Marianne says, I wish I'd spent the last year in high school. I graduated early and had to be in work to grad early program through a junior college, but you miss out on a lot. And sure, none of this is about, all right, guys, here's how you may have screwed up in your life, and I'm here to fix it for you. No, because I've screwed up a lot too. Hindsight, it's 2020, right? But the past does not equal the future. Whether you made a mistake 5 years ago, 5 months ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 minutes ago, the past does not equal the future. You can decide what kind of future you want, and you are the only one who can decide that. Not Mike Davis, no one but you. I'm going to read one last quote from Walden, okay? If that's all right with you guys. Because in a way it encapsulates a lot of this. Thoreau says, I love a broad margin to my life. Sometimes, in a summer morning, having taken my accustomed bath, I sat in my sunny doorway from sunrise till noon, wrapped in a reverie, amidst the pines and hickories and sumacs, in undisturbed solitude and stillness. While the birds sing around or flitted noiselessly through the house, until, by the sun falling in at my west window or the noise of some traveler's wagon on the distant highway, I was reminded of the lapse of time. Most important, what he's trying to say here is the next couple of sentences. So he says, I was reminded of the lapse of time after gazing and daydreaming for hours. He says, I grew in those seasons like corn in the night, and they were far better than any work of the hands would have been. They were not time subtracted from my life, but so much over and above my usual allowance. So, I guess I'll leave it with that for now. If any of you want me to speak more on this, on Friday or excuse me, on Thursday or next Tuesday or whatever, I'm more than happy to do so, but and I'd also be happy. Oh, by the way, I just got an annotated version of Walden on Kindle. It was like $3.99. So I want to make you aware of that, guys. Anyway, I'd be happy to share the highlights that the passages that I've highlighted over the years with anyone interested. You guys can just comment below if you are. Or email me, lovecrafteasing@gmail.com. For those who are new, I will just put this in the side chat. But I would really appreciate all the side comments for on the live show here, but I would really appreciate if even if you did watch live, and if you watch later, there's nothing like emotionally helpful for me when I do these little talks and readings, to hear back and hopefully I touch someone in how I did. One last thing, this is not a Thoreau quote. That last quote that I read to you guys about Thoreau growing more during those times, that he grew like corn in the night. What my friend replied was this, and I just think it's so good. There's a swear word in here or two, so forgive me, but here we go. He said, after reading that quote, he wrote to me, Mike, I took a walk tonight. I sat by the rails and watched the sunset. Had I the ability to heal the sick and raise the dead, then I would have been wasting my time. Since I don't have that ability, the alternatives would be generally to A, watch TV, or B, work to make some rich cocksucker an even richer cocksucker. There's always alternatives, he says in parentheses, but I'm making a point here. He said, I think, should I die tomorrow, I did well. And well said, and I agree. So, there is no TOS. What's TOS mean? Terms of service? The other shit? 2 or 7? Okay, terms of service. I got it right the first time. All right, so I need feedback if you guys want me to talk about this again. Thursday nights would be especially conducive to it. I'm supposed to be reading horror here, but I love just going where it goes, And I love you guys. I mean it. All right, so as you guys know, I love old time radio, and there is a old time radio audio drama called The Price of Fear, starring Vincent Price. See what he did there? And those are on YouTube and archive.org. You can find them easily enough. And they're very good. I will tell you, you can listen to them all in order if you want, but there are stories, at least half the stories, if not 3/4 of the stories, where Vincent Price isn't just the, narrator, DJ of sorts, whatever. I'm not thinking of the correct word. But in the best stories, he actually plays a fictional character of himself. And to me, those are the best. I mean, they're all good, but those are the best. So, you want to, I should write a list of those, but the number of things that I should do sometimes that I haven't gotten around to are very large. So what he did was he edited this collection of some of the stories from the show. So I want to read one of them, and I want to read a little part of his introduction. And it's like 5 pages long, and you can read it for yourself if you get this on eBay or Amazon or whatever. But I just want to read this important part. So we all know Vincent Price. I mean, he starred in movies. He starred in audio plays, audio dramas. Hell, The Price of Fear is like from the 70s through the 90s, off and on, if I remember correctly. But hell, Vincent Price starred in some audio dramas from the 40s, the 50s. So he was a voice actor. He was a television actor. I mean, he did it all. With that in mind, I want to read a couple paragraphs because this might really surprise you. Masterpiece Theater, yes, thank you. Yeah, this cover here, I don't think that happened in a story, Kelly, but it's a cool cover. So you should get the book, but you can listen to the audios for free. And just remember what I said, that while they're all good, the ones with him as a fictional character in the story, fictional version of himself, excuse me. He's always playing Vincent Price. Those are the best. I just freaking love those. All right, so from the first couple of paragraphs from his introduction to The Price of Fear collection, anthology. Sorry, let me take a drink. All right. Mr. Price says, when you read these stories, you must try to hear and see them too. Although, of course, they stand up brilliantly in literature. The reason that they are gathered together in this book is that they were chosen primarily for their effectiveness as bases for radio adaptations. Now, here's the surprising part, because you know how many movies he made and so forth. He goes on to say, radio is my favorite entertainment medium. I really mean this, though I've had a go at most of the others. Stage, cinema, television, even musical comedy, and the lecture platform. But all of us who have worked in radio in its great days in America, and its still great days in the UK, are devoted to it for so many reasons that it's hard to list them all. Radio is the neatest of all the showbiz media. All of this is just why I love audio drama so much. Radio is the neatest of all the showbiz media, Mr. Price goes on to say. Neat seems a funny way to describe it, but it's, well, just neat. There doesn't seem to be that disturbing, unnerving waste of time, which is so much a part of film work. It's always been well organized, and by the very nature of it, always on time. Oh, how important that is to artists of any discipline. Also, it is concentrated and consecutive. It does not start in the middle and end at the beginning like so much television and film work. There is plenty of rehearsal usually, and the fact of not having to memorize lines relieves the radio artist of that bugaboo of the stage. But here's the really important part of what he has to say. But what makes radio really exciting is the all-around creativity of it. The writer creates the original. Then the director creates the ambiance for the actors. And the brilliant technicians who manipulate the tapes, the dials, the sounds, and music to create the atmosphere. But the most creative of all participants in the joys of radio are the listeners, the audience. While we in the broadcasting studio are giving our all to them, they in their turn are truly creating us. The listener is set designer, costumer, makeup man, and even casting department. They see the characters they hear, then put them into the drama quite literally, in makeup, into the set, the wardrobe, even the mood and atmosphere. Now all these stories deal with the countless elements of fright. Fear or fright is a very personal thing. A boo in the dark might frighten me, and it does, but it may just annoy you. Some of the best known, and then therefore most obvious frights, are fear of height, enclosure, darkness, etc., the phobias. Edgar Allan Poe is supposed to have incorporated more frights in The Pit and the Pendulum than any one writer in any one story, and it's a very short one at that. Read it sometime with that in mind, and you'll see why he is the master he is. But in our collection, while there may not be one containing all fears, there are some real hair raisers. I'll stop there with the introduction and just once again point out, the first time I read this, I was like, wow, I shook my head, that someone who is such a master of stage and cinema and so on and so on, all of that, but his absolute favorite was radio plays, aka audio dramas. And the nice thing about it, he wrote this in the 70s. Nice thing about it is, thanks to the internet, we are lucky to be enjoying a new renaissance, more audio dramas than ever before. So it's there was a golden age of radio theater, right? So maybe you could call this the silver age of radio theater, and I'm all for it, especially when it comes to horror and sci-fi and hell, noir detective stories. I didn't have a TV growing up. I will never forget lying in bed in the middle of the night listening to, this was in the 80s, and the local radio station played something that they called actually the golden age of radio theater, and every night at 10:30 they played two half-hour audio dramas from the 40s and 50s. And I got a real education. This is before the internet and everything. It's my only way of, and I just loved it. And then this, of course, in addition to from 1974 to 1982, the CBS Radio Mystery Theater. Almost 1,400 of those episodes, guys. You can go to www.cbsrmt.com, CBS Radio Mystery Theater. And whoever runs that site has done a very good job of organizing them. Obviously, they're elsewhere as well. They're on YouTube and everything. If you've never listened to any of those, there are some hokey ones. There are some great ones. They're all very nostalgic for me. One of my favorites is called The Figure in the Moonlight. The Figure in the Moonlight. So Google that with CBS Radio Mystery Theater. There's another one. If you want a list of my favorites, again, email me. Actually, don't email me on that one. Comment below the video, now or later or whenever, and that way I can give a list to everyone at once. Okay, that sound all right? Yes, there's still great stuff on the BBC. They've been doing it for a long time. Kim, you're absolutely right about archive.org. In fact, as you guys who are patrons know, we just discussed The Haunter of the Dark for our new HPL story discussion series. That's number 4. And I found the original scan of The Haunter of the Dark and Weird Tales. And I forgot to attach it with that. I mean, it's not necessary, but I'm going to try to remember to do so tomorrow. Just add it to the comments or something on that link. So anyway, there's that. All right, so here's my question. Yeah, Pete is doing a great job with Rick's books. He really is. It's a ton of work. The question I have now is, I have a really cool story I wanted to read from here. It's not too long, but I've been jawing here for an hour and 15 minutes now, and I know a lot of you have to go to work in the morning. So I am perfectly willing to read this, I won't forget, next Tuesday night, if you would like me to. And we can cap it off here. Just comment in the side chat. Everyone, please comment in the side chat and let me know. I'm not going to be offended if you tell me to let's do it next Tuesday night. So, because I know I've been talking a lot about Walden and etc. tonight. Either way, you should Google The Price of Fear starring Vincent Price, and I'll give you a couple to get started with. Here's a good one. Waxwork. Waxwork is a really, really creepy one. And again, that's one where Vincent Price plays a fictional character of himself. Another one is called Fish. Those are a couple of good ones to start with. If you wanna do the Mike Davis thing every night, go to bed and go on an adventure in your mind, you could do that tonight. Start with Waxwork. It's a good one. It's a damn good one. All right. So, all right. Alan says he has to leave soon. Next week is okay. Suzanne says, God, what do you guys have? Teaching jobs or something? Thank you. Scott says he's fine listening tonight or next week, but it's Scott's Friday night, so because he's off on Wednesdays and Thursdays, aren't you, buddy? So why don't we wait? Looks like I'd say 3/4 of you think we should wait. I will read from here next week. I also will not forget to read, maybe the following week, another story from Whispered Echoes, Paul F. Olson's book. And please listen to Waxwork, The Price of Fear. And please, after you do, comment below and tell me how much you liked it. And tell your friends. Well, I mean, share this link. And if you're a Patreon, thank you. You know how much extra you get if you're a Patreon and you know someone who isn't. Please tell them about us. Tell them about me. I will tell you this. It has been a very, very tough few days. And speaking with you guys tonight and your feedback in the side chat has really lifted my mood. So I just want to say thank you for that. I will see you Thursday at the same time, same bat channel. That's 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 Central, 7 Pacific, and yes, nothing but The Price of Fear next week. You got it. So anyway, thanks to all of you, and please comment below. Let me know what you think of Waxwork on The Price of Fear, and let me know what you think of anything I talked about tonight. Thanks. Special thanks to the Patreons. Thanks to my new Patreon, Kim. And as always, thank you to one of the guys who really helps do a lot for the show, Mr. Alan Hughes. So, you guys have a good night, and I will see you on Thursday at 10 p.m. Central. Or no, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Night, guys. Thanks for everything.